is the host of everything, and he's wearing a tie. So, so have you been wearing that all day?
Yes, I have.
If you want to just like go down the list,
Sure.
or if for a little structure.
All right, so we'll get some format here. You're all being recorded, I believe, just because it'd be really funny to show everyone later what we do today, I think. We won't release it to your bosses or put it on the internet, though, unless it's really funny. I assume at this point a lot of people know how to do this kind of thing as far as video conferencing. If you're not familiar with Zoom, I don't think we need to mute everyone or anything like that, or like raise hands to discuss, but I guess that's the role of me as the mediator. If things get crazy, I will mute you all and we'll raise hands. I don't think it'll be as bad as my kindergarten class of my daughter, and when she had 40 or so students and they all just wanted to chat and go nuts with that. But so first and foremost, get your drinks ready. So I've got my champagne glass here. If you guys want to start mixing, if anyone knows how to mix anything, we're welcome to do that. My drink of choice today is Shasta root beer. So I'm not sure if when you're video chatting, if you're technically on university property or not, but if everyone wants to get their drinks, we'll maybe just give a little cheers.
Can we just use our water bottle?
Yes, please.
Here's my glass of water.
Hi, Catherine.
And then we'll cheers it and get a little sip here.
Cheers.
Cheers, salute.
To us.
Drinking water.
See, Kathy's drinking
Hey,
wine.
Catherine.
I'm drinking Paul Biddix wine.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
He
yeah,
sent me
perfect.
wine.
I feel like I'm a beauty influencer doing like the.
So maybe to begin, we'll start with just kind of everyone maybe introducing themselves, playing a little get to know you game and networking real quick. So we'll start, I'm just gonna do my Brady Bunch squares, and maybe this is what we'll do. We'll play a little game here. We'll go with, you just tell your name, role, what organization you're with real quick, and maybe maybe the quarantini of choice. So what drink or meal or object has become your favorite thing during quarantine? So my top left is newly elected Ellen Hernandez. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll all drink while you chat.
Well, it won't take very long. Let's see, Ellen Hernandez with the Daily Universe at Brigham Young University. We are, during this period of time, literally still printing a paper every week, and we have done some incredible things. Not to put a plug in, but yes, I will. Go to universe.byu.edu, go down to the bottom and look at our archives. Our newsroom students have done some phenomenal things with how this virus is impacting the BYU community. Lots of graphs, lots of charts, a couple of double trucks in there with good information for our students. They've just been phenomenal. Because we're academically driven, we've got the whole School of Communication helping us with this, and so it's been really good.
Great, thank you, Ellen.
Can you repeat that link? I'm sorry.
Say that again?
Can you repeat that link?
universe.byu.edu.
universe.byu.edu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do recommend, if you guys want to just chat individually, feel free to use the chat function or drop questions or things you want to talk about there as well.
Well, and that's a good place to put the links as well, because
Yeah, you can click on them.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Definition of a link.
Also, if you have links to recipes for your beverages, that would also be nice.
I do have a question for Ellen. Is school still in session and your business is open in your town?
Hey, this isn't question and answer time, Kathy. It's merely introduction time.
Well, I mean, she brought it up, so I just want to know.
Well, we'll just circle back around.
Just mute me then, and I'll just drink.
Go ahead, Ellen. You can answer her question.
Truth be told, they've
All the power's gone to your head. All right.
They've shut down the university. A lot of our buildings are on lockdown. I've spent the last 2 days trying to get my circulation students accessed to each lockdown building so they can actually circulate the paper. We're not getting a big pickup rate, obviously, because we don't have very many people there. We're doing it. Our director, Steve Fidel, is more interested in commemorating this event in print and having something tangible to look back on.
Okay.
Students, and so that's kind of what it is. Our town is trying to stay afloat and trying to do all the things. We're the ones, I don't know if you saw it nationally, but American Fork in Utah, one of our movie theaters turned it into a drive-in theater, so you can go and actually watch a movie at the drive-in. So they're getting pretty creative around here.
Great.
Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you for the question.
I will mute myself now. Don't talk to me.
All right, Tammy, you're next in my list.
Hello. I'm Tammy Bongiorni, and I'm sitting in our game room, which is now my office. I'm at Kent State, which is permanently shut down until July 15th for everyone. We're working remotely, and my students are working remotely as well. And I am drinking Paul Biddick's Derby wines that he sent me.
Lovely.
Yum.
It's
So Tammy likes it dirty. Okay, here we go. And
Derby.
next on my list is Patrick. You want to go, Patrick?
Good afternoon, everyone. Patrick DiDomenico, Advertising Director for the University of South Carolina. And I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, and I've been babysitting my 5-pound Yorkie in my lap for the last 2 weeks. So super fun trying to maintain some engagement with my students, even though we have pretty much everything canceled as far as print and digital, with the exception of an email that publishes on Mondays, and our dailygamecock.com continues to run. Luckily, our housing site has actually picked up significant traffic because of the shutdown, so that's good.
Lovely, lovely. Thomas.
Yes, so I'm Tom. I'm from the Pitt News, University of Pittsburgh. I am full-time multimedia sales account exec. I'm like Terry's right-hand man. So I work with students. I have 2 dogs. They've appreciated all the time I've been spending with them, and my house has kind of turned into a bit of a frat party with White Claws and Trulies. So that's been the drink lately.
I wish I had a clue what those were. Great. Shelly, you're up next.
I'm the ad director there, and we've been closed now for 2 weeks remotely. We're still doing online, but we have we're not doing print through the end of the year. So just looking for some good online suggestions.
Great. I'm
Oh,
sure
and my drink of choice is Fresca.
Good choice.
The original Fresca?
It's the original Fresca.
Okay. All right.
I figured since I'm home, I'm going on a low carb diet, or so I don't eat everything in the house.
My diet has consisted of hot tamales and cookies at this point.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would be doing. So.
Kathy Szynski.
Hi, everyone. Kathy Szynski from University of Michigan. Our classes were canceled starting March. March was the longest year, as everyone says. The 12th and 13th, so the 11th was our last day of classes. It was 3 days back from spring break. And we have decided to continue publishing a paper, but just in digital version on Issue, so that way they will be searchable when we upload them to our historical archives. It will still look like a paper, putting it out every day that we still have online classes. Our campus is closed. There will be no spring, summer on-ground classes. Will be delivered online only. Our new student orientation over the summer has also going to a virtual mode. But we have been getting requests. I'll save some of this for James. We've been getting requests from our some university units about are we going to still be doing our orientation guide and new student edition? Because we've been fortunate over the years to have the addresses of all the incoming freshmen, and so we've mailed those out, and those have become even, I think, now more valuable than ever to our advertisers to get those in the incoming freshman homes, because they won't be on campus for that initial summer experience. So we're doing our best to move people to online, and you know, just trying to figure out how to exist in this world at the moment. And I have 2 drinks. I've had water for video, and but I do have a glass of white with me as well.
Perfect.
Girl.
Terry Lucas.
Hey all, how are you? Let's see. We published the first week of March with, and then the following week was spring break. And during spring break, Pitt extended spring break another week, so students could come back on campus, pick up their belongings, and then go back home. So we started publishing strictly online with the daily e-newsletter on March 16th, and we've been publishing daily online ever since then. I am beyond proud of the amount of work that our students are doing remotely and the quality of the coverage. It's just been phenomenal. So yeah, for the past 2 weeks, Tom and our students have been converting everything that was booked in our AdPro system for March and April over into digital products. We added a billboard ad to our online edition, and then we upped the amount of banner ads on our e-newsletter from 1 to 3. So now the conversations are getting much more difficult, because now we're trying to take the schedules from 2019 for March and April and try to move them into running on all of our other products. But that has become very challenging because a lot of businesses are shut down, and some of them are just being unresponsive because they're either closed or it's just not their priority right now to speak to us. So, but you know, we keep persevering. Tom keeps calling, our students keep calling. But yeah, things are. What were you doing with the root beer in the cup? Pitt also is shut down. Hi. And they also ceased physical classes for the rest of the term and for the summer. So we will just continue with publishing daily e-newsletter and our online as well as our social media platforms. And we'll be selling our new student guide, which gets mailed into the homes in July. And we'll also be selling our Pitt map for the summer, as well as the Welcome Back edition. And my drink right now is water. I've run out of booze. So, but my drink would be, my quarantine drink would be a Negroni.
So funny.
All
Terry,
right.
you just made us all touch our faces laughing.
Yeah.
Terry, should we mail you some?
There you go. I'll send you my address in the chat room.
I believe Tammy did post the link to Derby Wine Estates if you're interested there.
And let me recommend brightsellers.com. They will ship directly to your home in 3 days. Just saying. I've upped my wine clubs by 2 since this started. Sorry.
Melissa, your turn. Oh, you're muted, Melissa. There we go.
Okay. I'm Melissa with the University of Illinois Daily Illini, and we have been working really since right before spring, or right after spring break. It's all a blur. We stopped printing the Thursday before spring break, and campus is pretty much on lockdown. Yeah, so my drink is an iced coffee that I've been drinking way too long today. And yeah, oh, I'm the co-publisher and ad director.
Lovely. Charlie.
I'm Charlie Weaver. I am the general manager of the Minnesota Daily. We are completely remote in all aspects of what we're doing right now until the end of the summer, tentatively. We're still operating at 100% capacity, regardless of the reduction of print. And actually, super proud of my students because we're producing more content than we normally would, because previously they were always kind of trying to fill the print edition, and that's when they would stop working. And so silver lining is, like, removing print showed that they can do more journalism in any given day, and I think they've really risen to that occasion. And on the business and operations side, the staff has really adapted pretty quickly to the Zoom meetings and working remotely. If anything, they tend to be a little bit more connected at this point too. So we're trying to come up with some different strategies on how to pivot some of our print dollars into digital dollars. First attempts have fallen pretty flat with our advertisers, but I think a lot of that has to do with the immediate reaction to kind of stuff that's going on. Their gut reaction is to kind of hold on to all of their dollars. So what we've done is we've exported all of our email contacts and are creating MailChimp accounts that are giving out best practices for marketing during this crisis. And so we're sending our first one out today, and they're talking about, like, different verticals and how they should be reacting. So, like, how should the housing market be reacting right now? How should the healthcare industry be reacting right now and connecting with students? And then just recruitment and retention, or recruitment and hiring. Like, we're getting close to that graduation point, and a lot of students are really panicking right now because a lot of job offers and internships have been rescinded because of all of this COVID-19 stuff. So we're kind of talking about how they can still be interacting with students on a regular basis outside of the career fairs and different things like that. So,
drink of choice?
I've got 3: water, green tea, and iced coffee next to me. I've been locked into this seat for the last 6 hours in consecutive Zoom meetings, so.
Feel free to stand.
Yeah, well, and it's nice. As you can see, I'm in my bedroom, which has a bathroom in it. So, like, I don't have to move more than 20 feet to, like, hit all of my Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we're pretty good.
All right. So I just want to make sure that we get to a lot of people. I don't want to waste our time. So let's, just as far as introductions go, stick to the name, where you're at, and drink of choice. And then we'll kind of maybe continue some of these things that people have brought up, if that's okay with everyone. So Catherine Ross, you're up.
Catherine Ross, the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Daily Pennsylvanian at the University of Pennsylvania. My drink of choice today is water, but my boyfriend and I are doing cocktails and at least 1 bottle of wine every night. So.
Wonderful.
Nice to see everybody.
Leslie Murphy.
I'm Leslie Murphy, Northwest Missouri State University. I haven't been drinking, but I've been adopting cats at quite a clip. So this is my second one in 2 weeks. But right now I'm drinking Diet Pepsi per usual.
Diet Pepsi, great. Kathy Simon.
Thank you so much for letting me speak.
You're welcome.
My name is Kathy Simon, and I'm the Assistant Director at Central Michigan Life at Central Michigan University. And we were on break about the second week of March, and so we have been technically shut down for 2 weeks. We are not publishing. We're publishing twice a week emails, and staff is working remotely for however long the school tells us and the state tells us. And my drink of choice is red wine from California. Limiting myself to a bottle a week right now, just in case I need to ration longer. So
good. Keep the rations.
Yes.
Looks like James is next in my list here.
Hi everyone, James, the Sales and Marketing Advisor at the University of Michigan. Ditto with a lot of everything that you're saying. My drink of choice, I have not opened it up yet, is this Unity Vibration Kombucha beer. If you have not had kombucha beer, I highly, highly recommend it. Super good.
Fancy.
Julie.
Julie Salter, University of Alabama, the Assistant Director of Advertising. And I am trying to support local, right? So we have gone and gotten growlers filled with all the local beers. So there's an idea for you if you aren't doing that for takeout and carry out pickup. Alternating that with my boxed wine, because I saw a fun idea at the beginning of this where we could build forts out of boxes left over from your box wine. So the goal is to be long enough and have enough boxes to build my own adult fort to have Zoom meetings in. I only have 2 right now, so I'm slow moving. But those are my 2 drinks of choice currently.
We need pictures of this fort.
Yeah.
It will take
definitely.
me a minute, but I'm working on it.
Jody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jody Holcomb. I'm the general manager at the Daily Sundial. Well, I guess we're just the Sundial at California State University, Northridge. Despite what my shirt says, I just realized I have a totally different college on. So if there's anybody from Bowling Green, hi, friends. Yeah, we're also close. So I'm coming at you from my rec room of my house. And my drink of choice, because it's not even 1:30 here in LA, is just water. So cheers.
Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Kurland from Cal State Fullerton, the Daily Titan. I am the advertising advisor, and I'm also a lecturer. And I unfortunately gave up alcohol for Lent, which was, now looking back, not a good decision. So I will be drinking, and probably my drink of choice on Easter Sunday will be Tito's vodka soda with cranberry juice. To wait a few more days.
Mel.
Hi, I'm Mel Bautista from NYU. I am the business manager at Washington Square News, and my drink of choice is coffee, as always.
Thank you, Mel. Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Blumhardt, Advertising Director at Colorado State University. And I was running late and realized that it was already 2:03 when I joined the meeting, so I wasn't able to grab a drink of choice. But if I had, it would have been a Truly.
Sarah.
Unmute. Hey, Sarah Scarborough, University of South Carolina. Work with Patrick DiDomenico. And I'm on my porch where I've been doing a lot of work since March 16th and taking a break from the water to have a locally brewed beer. So Julie, shout out to you. The River Rat is delicious.
Andrea.
Andrea Watson, Sales Marketing Design Manager at Texas Tech. currently on only day 5 of working from home, and I hate it. So I those of you who've been working from home that much longer, I can't imagine how stir crazy I will be shortly. Drink of choice currently is water because sleep deprivation is still a real thing, and I'd probably be asleep on my laptop if I was drinking alcohol right now.
Which would be very fun to watch. I'm going to go with screen names here. WLL58732.
Sorry, that's my TopNet username. I'm Will Hoagland. I'm the advertising advisor at College Heights Herald at WKU. And yeah, I've made best friends with a volleyball named Wilson. And yeah, we're getting along pretty well. And my drink of choice is my own tears. And I've been drinking my own tears.
Let's all cheers to that.
Yeah, I've been drinking my own tears and lots of bourbon. So yeah.
And then we got npilcher2@unl.edu.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
My name is Nicole Pilcher, and I am the marketing and sales director at University of Nebraska. I am still very new. I've only been here a month. And let's see, what else are we supposed to talk about? Oh, my favorite drink. Well, right now it's Diet Dr. Pepper. And water, I guess.
Keep hydrated, everybody. Wash your hands. All right, I think we got everyone. And now we all know what to send each other or buy each other at our next convention, unless we get sick of it. So the list that Leslie put together from the suggestions you guys had, I think what we'll do is we'll tackle the ones that are pretty easy to answer first, just kind of a yes, no type thing. Then maybe talk a little bit, spread some time on that. So the first one that came up is payroll. Are we still paying everyone? So just kind of open it up to situations that you guys are having. So first we'll just do a thumbs up. Are you still paying everyone on your payroll? Thumbs down if not, and a medium if it's both.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we got some mediums, we got some ups, we got some downs. So those of you that are in the downs, maybe explain the rationale behind that, how you came to that decision, and then our mediums can kind of elaborate after that. So
we're not paying anybody because there's no one here working. We only pay our circulation team, and if they're not handing out a paper, they're not going to get paid. All of our staff is all volunteer. There are scholarships that we do give out to senior leadership, and those are all still getting paid because we're still reporting the news and running a business, but that's it.
Okay. Any other no's? Okay, let's get the maybes, or the some are paying, some aren't paying.
We're still paying a skeleton crew. Primarily it's our editorial board, about half of whom are still in town and about half are scattered in various places across our ginormous state. Because there are hourly employees anyway that the university is mandating that we continue to pay through pandemic leave. Would love to still be paying more people than that, but that's already going to be a bit of a killer given that we're not making a whole lot of money right now. So
yeah, we made that tough decision last week. A lot of our students had a kind of a base salary. They were on payroll, and yeah, just money's not coming in from advertising right now. So we had to make that call. And so now they're getting paid just by the piece. And as far as my sales team goes, you know, they all pretty much moved home, but I'm giving them the option if they still want to keep in touch with their clients and sell that way, they can get paid by commission only, but they're not going to get that base salary right now just because we don't have it anymore.
We gave an option too, if they wanted to continue and were able to work remotely, we would pay them their same amount of hours they're contracted for. All the salespeople stayed, obviously, because it's awesome working for me. And they're about to get their biggest commission check from the new student guide, so they're not going to stop now. But we had 7 leave the editorial staff and just say, I'm good, or I won't be able to work remotely, so they just chose to stop.
Yeah, our editorial students are still receiving stipends. The sales folks, though, who would normally just receive commission, because we've pretty much lost all of April, they won't be receiving commission for April, but we have worked up a small stipend just to kind of keep them engaged, because we really want to keep a team atmosphere as best we can, and keep those students engaged so that when we do return back to some sort of, normal kind of operation, that we'll still have them on the team. We're also actively recruiting as well.
And my ad staff is still getting they get like 5 hours a week and then their commission. So they're still, in theory, all working. We'll see how that goes after this first week.
We had just launched a pilot program with our sales staff this semester where I was paying them a significant amount of money compared to the previous years each week, about $100 a week, actually. And then on top of that was added commission, but there were expectations of office hours and things like that many of you already have, and we didn't have that before. I hired 3 seniors on purpose because I wanted to make sure that if it went terrible, I would only have to fix 2 or 3 people rather than all the seniors. So when the change happened, I just kind of met with them and said, let's be honest about how much time you've put in, and we came to agreements on what the pay was. So we're still moving forward with that, but yesterday we had a meeting with them and started giving out tasks that usually our kind of assistant business staff people would do. And so we're keeping them employed at a different rate, asking them to maybe not sell as much during the time that they have, but to start working on the organization of how to come out of this on the other side. So we're still selling, and we're printing not a physical paper, but we're printing to issue, which has interactive features that we're selling now to our advertisers that were already booked. So we didn't lose anybody, no one canceled except for our pre-printed inserts. So we're still paying the commissions that they had booked for that. But now we're reducing their monthly pay according to how much they're working. Any other payroll chats that anybody needs to or chat about or have questions they want to share with the group? All right, with that, I think we can kind of lead into one that we've been asked to do. So many of you with COVID-19 may have been asked, especially the universities, the state institutions, how you're supposed to report lost revenue or report COVID interruptions. Is that something that you guys have been asked to do? How are you tracking that, if so? So first off, have you been asked to do so? Give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay, so those of you that have been asked, maybe you just share what you're doing and maybe why.
We got basically like a PDF of a PowerPoint explaining everything, and I don't know how they put it together so fast. Everything else was not so fast. But it was like in anticipation of being asked for these numbers, we need to know all lost revenue and additional expenses you have that are specifically because of this reason. So we're not printing, so I just went to each week and totaled that up. But I think we are, any new online ads will obviously not be in there because it's new, but we're people who transitioned, we had to decide, are we going to count that as new revenue, or are we just going to subtract that from the original lost? So we're still trying to figure that out. And then I'm sure that it will affect, because my salespeople aren't in town, how much I make on my new student guide. But I don't necessarily know how to, like, it's very easy to say, okay, I'm losing this many thousand on this paper times 5 because I'm not printing the last 5 papers. But just the effect that it's going to have on the new student guide, I don't really know how to calculate that. I guess compare to last year and see like where it is, the loss from that, but they already have a form set up for us to submit. I'm not going to do it until I'm done for selling for the year, but they sent that out probably a week and a half ago, like ready to do it. And it was basically the only revenue loss besides the university itself, office wise, is student activities based on like concert sales and us. So
Have they told you how to track it? Have they set it up, or are you just keeping spreadsheets?
Just keeping spreadsheets, but as far as the form they want us to fill out, it's like just plug it in and then they're going to take that and submit it. Yeah, they'll do it for us.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's how ours is too at Kent State. Basically, we're keeping a Google sheet to keep track of everything that's had to been canceled or refunded. And then also keep track of anything that we have transferred to online that was currently in the paper that we've since ceased production on. And then basically we have to report back to the university all the funding that we lost through revenue, as well as paying our students through July 15th.
Ditto for Central Michigan as well.
So for University of Michigan, since we are mostly independent of the university and don't take any student fees or anything like that, the only thing that I have to do right now, because I do have work study students, and that is on payroll, and there's a new code that I have to indicate if it's a work study student who is either still working, is able to work remotely, or if they are not, then there's a PAN, a pandemic tracking in our payroll system. But other than that, whatever we end up in the red this year, we will end up having to take from our reserves and so no tracking on that side.
I'm sorry. At Pitt, we were given an Excel spreadsheet, but they wanted to know last Friday how much we had lost in revenues, as well as what kind of savings we have in expenses. They wanted to specifically know, because there's a mandate to pay all students, whether stipend, hourly, or whatever, like what losses we were experiencing for students that would continue to be paid but are not working. Yeah, ours also, like I said, included like, are there any expense savings? And those expense savings were just printing and delivery at this point. But yeah, it's all done through a spreadsheet. So didn't have a lot to put down for as of last Friday, because we were just really reporting what we were losing that was booked in the system for March and April that we couldn't convert over to digital products, or we just couldn't hear back from the advertiser in time for that deadline. So we'll have to be updating it as the weeks go by.
How about those of you that aren't being asked to track or aren't part of the university? Are you planning on tracking and submitting anything as far as being an independent or a nonprofit? Do you have anyone there?
Actually, I just wanted to kind of add to that last conversation. University of Minnesota does their student services fees a little different than most. Like, we have a completely separate committee, and it's not like distributed through student government or anything along those lines, or the actual administration's office. So they were actually pretty proactive and got ahead of it and sent out a survey that we just had to fill out. So there wasn't really a spreadsheet or anything like that, but the survey was a little bit lacking as far as what are our anticipated losses. They just wanted to know, are you spending all of our dollars? Are you still paying students? What percentage of operations are you still operating at? So we were able to say that we were operating at 100% because we've kind of structured our budget in a way that all of the student services fees that we get go towards student payroll. So we only distribute the paper through advertising revenue and stuff. So when that went away, we weren't horribly impacted by the loss of that revenue. And quite honestly, our regular edition of the newspaper hasn't paid for itself in a long time. So we actually saved a little bit of money in that regard. We took the big hit on the special sections that we had to pull. But they've been pretty easy to work with. And my recommendation would be always just kind of get in front of it and actually reach out and not wait for them to contact you as well. Because like they're all trying to figure out a number of different things. But right now, the big thing that we're going to have to deal with, I have a feeling, in the next 2 weeks, is there are a lot of student petitions going around saying that they want their student services fees refunded. And while I can agree with some of that logic, some of the other logic, like they're also the same students that created the petition that wants to make sure that all the students get paid. So like a lot of our student organizations fund those payrolls through student services fees, and like having to educate everybody on that is going to be a pretty complex endeavor. And so the more you can communicate with administrators, student leaders, and different things like that, I think it's going to be to your benefit, because we were talking, they floated the number of about $45,000 that we would have to pay back out of our allocation. And I respectfully disagreed and asked if they were going to be like, if you're listening to the student petitions, are you going to allow the student organizations that are being affected by this to also contribute to that conversation? And they hadn't thought about it from that perspective. And now they're kind of bringing a public forum online that people can attend and talk to, because a lot of the student groups on the U of M campus want to take all of the money that they were given as student services fees and donate it to the public. So, which goes against all of the regulations for student services fees. But so that's the big thing that I'm dealing with right now, which is a little bit different than I think a lot of universities are struggling with.
We are independent also at Colorado State University. Even though we're independent, however, we do get a student fee from ASCSU. And this, we have a 3-year contract, and this happens to be our renewal year for the contract. The current administration at ASCSU are not fans of student media. And so that's kind of a challenge for us right now. We had also asked for a small increase in student fees, and the executive committee of our student government was voting on that, or meeting to vote on that right before spring break. And then our spring break was the week before classes got canceled. So we've not heard back yet their decision on whether or not they're going to approve funding for us moving forward. We also, our students at Colorado State have started circulating a petition to have student fees reimbursed as well.
So it might be a trend here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need the ESU and the Minnesota students not to talk to anybody in Texas, because so far ours haven't thought that far ahead. They're too busy worrying about if they get pass fail.
As of last night, they had actually gotten, I think, 1,500, I believe, signatures on the petition.
We have a segment that's advocating they should get all of their tuition money back. And I'm like, yeah, it's a hard sell when you're still technically have classes available.
Right, right.
Yeah, U of M, they got the pass fail taken care of early. They wrote a petition about, like, they wanted a graduation ceremony. Like, there's a lot of entitlement going on, and it's kind of frustrating in the fact that the gravity, well, and a lot of the student services fees go towards bonds that are on campus as well. And a lot of the students don't understand that those student service, like the buildings that they're going to we're going to exercise and different things like that, were paid by students that didn't even get to participate in those things because of the student services fees. And so, and on top of it all, we have a new president that wants to be as well loved as she can be right now during this situation. So she's kind of not caving into, but acquiescing to a lot of these student demands, which I think if everybody just takes a breath and thinks about things logically, hopefully we can get out of that situation.
All right. Any other thoughts on tracking of expenses or things with around the pandemic? Drinking game. Everyone's got to drink.
Well,
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one thing I'm also curious about, I'm just now starting to see some social sentiment around it. Students paying their landlords, and even just landlords being a very big piece of the pie when it comes to advertising dollars and student media. I mean, I don't see the connection between those two, but I am just curious about kind of the sentiment regarding that, even just the larger picture of people not paying their mortgages, but that's a whole, it's not student media specific, but.
Maybe a interesting topic. Okay, so going with the trend of let's talk about our students, how are, some of us already alluded to it in our introductions, but how are you managing and motivating your students at this time remotely? How are you keeping in touch? What's keeping them going? Because there's a lot they're dealing with, right? And so what are we doing? What's working? What hasn't worked?
We've been doing Zoom calls once a week. We keep our normal time that we have our ad staff meeting each week, but we just been using Slack and just trying to stay as well communicated as we can. It has been hard though, because a lot of them have moved home, so they're not around to really, see their clients or reach out to them. But it's more of, if they have anybody that they need me to reach out to, I can do it and connect them to them. Just trying to keep them as plugged in as possible, but it has been hard because they're not here anymore. Plus also, I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but a lot of my students with their online classes, they've told me that it's actually been more work for them because it is online. They're required to watch more videos and respond to different assignments more quickly. So they actually feel pretty bogged down with all this stuff. So I just told them, you're a student first, do what you got to do and let me know how I can help you.
I'm trying to be really gentle from afar because, as we know, things come across differently in text or email than they do if you were to say, Katie, what the hell are you doing? That sounds different if she's right in front of me than in a text. So I'm trying to be really gentle, especially with that one because she works at a grocery store in town. So she is struggling. But basically our mantra was always how can I help? And it's all about helping the clients and stuff. And I've kind of changed it to we can do the best we can do. So that's kind of how the style has gone. I'm not messaging them every day like I normally would. And I've set out the priorities, and we have one priority, and it's new student guide. That's your only priority. Anything you can get online, thank you, good job. But we have one priority. So I think simplifying the priority list down to one or two has been helpful. I'm also leading a yoga class for the entire staff on Monday at 10 if anybody wants to come. And that's all editorial. It's going to be 50 people, so we'll see how that goes.
Can we drink while we do yoga?
So we'll see what happens. I did not invite Steven, so but I think just being as gentle as possible is kind of working for me. And I have a manager who is on, she's perfect in every way. So that's been helpful, but that's just luck. So.
Yeah, I think part of it, and James would probably attest to this. At least I hope I am being an empathetic leader of my organization. It's whether it's the students or whether it's my professional staff or whether it's even a vendor. I mean, right now everyone's world is just kind of upended, and the most important thing you can do at this point is just to ask people how they're doing, right? Just the whole care and concern about that, and then moving forward with whatever was supposed to be the topic of your conversation for that day, because everyone is just going through so many different moods and so many different mood swings in any given day that it's just, you never know what their frame of mind's going to be in when you reach them. So just kind of being there as much as you can be through a computer.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to add to that is I've been noticing each student is kind of processing this pandemic differently. Some are actually being very motivated and want to do more work because they don't really have anything to do, whereas others feel like everything is kind of just falling apart. So I've been able to kind of just separate a different staff into kind of ones who are looking to still be pretty involved and look for something to do to get their mind off things. And that's been pretty useful. We use Slack.
We have, and I don't know who else has this, but the majority of my business students are international students. So I have very few that are still in this country, or if they are still in this country, they are trying to get home and they cannot. So we've had a really hard time engaging our business team at this point. A couple of our students also who got home to India or China then don't have regular internet access, or maybe they don't have it at all, or maybe they have it for 2 hours a day. So it's been really, really difficult. We use Slack and Zoom, but it's been really, really challenging. So we've identified like 1 or 2 things we want everyone to do over the next like couple of weeks and just hope to get that out of them. But does anyone else face that struggle with international students?
We have one, and he just is completely on his own now in terms of communication with us, and it's just unfortunate, but
yeah, we have that as well. We have one international student, and it's a little difficult with like time zones because we are maintaining our business meeting time on Zoom the same as other people are doing, but it is difficult. So email and like the group me chat is really helping us right now.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's not on an international student standpoint, but my ad manager is in the National Guard, and so he got asked to volunteer. So he's not around anymore, really. I mean, he'll email me every once in a while, but he's kind of off the grid right now.
I have a little bit of a unique situation in that I have 5 of my account executives are earning their academic internship. Does anyone have interns?
I do.
Oh, no.
Great. So, and then I've got, let's see, 3 of my marketing coordinators are interns. And so it's not an issue keeping my marketing students busy. There's plenty for them to do with the social media posts and other projects, but it's been really challenging to keep those AEs busy but wanting the work to be meaningful work. They've got about 8 hours to do each week. But we've been working with our career center on campus. They're coming up with alternate projects for them to do because we're just simply not reaching out right now to local businesses. And so Tammy, I don't know how you're handling it, but.
So things that we've done, I have 2 that are currently working on their internship with me. We also aren't reaching out primarily just because our governor has shut everything down in Ohio. Almost all of our businesses that advertise are shuttered and the entire campus is closed. So what we've had them working on is reaching out to every single client. We're actually building a site on like a page on our site that showcases who's actually open for delivery and takeout.
We're doing that too.
That for free.
Yeah.
Just because so many of our businesses are struggling, we have all mom and pop type of storefronts, not really any chains. So all of them are operating on skeleton crews. So that's what I have them focusing on. I also am having them utilize the time to update all of our client list in terms of correct emails, correct addresses, like the things that we never have time to do, but now we have all the time in the world, just to make sure that they get their internship credit. And then when this is all over, we have all of our CRM and everything is ready to go for when we can start back up.
We've been doing the same thing, Tammy, looking for projects that we never had time to do, but are really important and meaningful to the organization. We've opened it up for students to come up with ideas. But one of the big things that we've been talking about lately is planning for the future. And, fully acknowledging that even we don't know, grown-ups, we call them, don't have a clue of what's going to happen, but we're still looking for the future. We're still planning some of our specials, some of our projects that we had already been planning for, and allowing students to start working on those and start brainstorming and putting together their proposals and things. And I think that's been really helpful for them to realize that we might be in this right now, but it is going to end. And we do have to be thinking for the future. And that seems to give them a little bit more hope in this time. We've struggled with some students with some depression and anxiety issues and stuff. We've been communicating one-on-one with them, phone calls, video chats, that kind of a thing. I was grateful our administration in the Daily Universe, our first and foremost was always what's going on with our students, what do they need, and is everybody taken care of? Who's going home, who's staying, who needs to work, who doesn't want to work, and then reaching out and finding things for them to do. So I think that's really important. Reassure them, show them that we're there for them, that we're all figuring it out at the same time, but that we do need to plan for the future because we are going to have one. What that looks like and when it starts up again, we don't know. We're even planning literally a party, and my marketing team is planning a Zoom end of semester party. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we're going to do it.
We've talked about that too. I'm meeting with my ad staff once a week, but daily with the newsroom staff, and I'm seeing how much they're enjoying that contact. So I'm thinking our ad staff meetings will become more frequent in the very near future. So, because like you said, we definitely have some students who are struggling. I have one who I'm texting with multiple times a day just because I'm a little afraid of where their headspace is right now. So.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'll just echo what a few have said, that we're meeting weekly as normal, same time, just virtual now, and I've actually had better attendance, which is great. I was concerned because I hired so many, half my staff ended up being seniors, but, 2 of them are the ones that are actually still stepping it up and going. And I think it's just for their own sanity, that so many things have been, taken away from them, that this is helpful for them to just feel like they need to do. And then definitely I've found that they've even kind of given me feedback on that this is what they want, is just giving them tasks that help move the work forward, like you guys have said, whether that's updating the CRM or let's just focus on this one thing that we want to sell. They've appreciated that, and have just been I just kind of had told them, be open and honest. If you need us, if you can't do the job, don't feel burdened and just let someone know. And so we've actually been able to, for those of you that maybe have, office assistants or people that you trust, if you've lost an ad manager and stuff like that, we've kind of allowed other people to step in and be that role of essentially everyone has a buddy, or, I've assigned 2 or 3 staff members to one of our more senior office persons that can reach out, rather than me, myself being in 3 Zoom calls a day. We divide it out and one person's kind of doing it. And I think that that's kept people motivated, but yeah. All right. Other managing or motivating students in this remote time. I think that was some good information there. So just wanted to point out, like I did in the chat, if you need to go, feel free to just give a wave or say farewell. And this is being recorded, so we might send it out to you so you can see what you left off. But yeah, just don't feel like you have to stay on if you got some other things to do. I think we were just planning on going for about another half hour more or so at the most. Just to kind of go through the list here, but kind of the rest of it was about the future and what that has for us as far as discounts you're offering currently to get through this. Some of you guys mentioned what you're doing just to help your advertisers to maintain relationships. How are we creating new revenue? What are your summer plans? I think that's kind of what we can move to next, is just like, what are the ideas? What are we trying? What are we doing from here? It's only been a few weeks, but some of us have maybe tried some stuff that others are thinking. And I'll go first. So the first thing that we jumped on is I started getting a lot of emails about webinars about different. So first you got all the emails of what we're doing for COVID-19, which is our new drinking game. So everyone, there you go. Right, so the restaurant that you booked a reservation with online 4 years ago emailed you to let you know what's going on. So, but a few of them have been services and products, and how their products, like Zoom, for example, can be helpful at this time. And one of those was Issue. And I know a lot of us use Issue, we're familiar with Issue, but I wasn't aware of all the cool new features that they offer for paid Issue memberships. And so it was easy for us to just contact all of our advertisers that were in the print product, and we decided we're going to stop printing, but we're going to produce the paper in PDF via Issue. And now we can track the amount of clicks. I can track clicks on the ad itself to the link of the advertiser. You can embed video, a lot of cool stuff. And it's something that we plan on using in the future and continuing to use as like an add-on for people that run in the paper. And so we're emailing out that issue every Tuesday, like when our print product was going to go out. And then our newsletter that goes out as usual on Friday has been including it as well. And so we've seen a lot of good success with that. We've been using this time, like a lot of you said, to have our marketing students focus on marketing people subscribing to that email. And that's been great. And we're coming up with just ideas to interact and move things forward. So Issue was kind of the big one for us, and it only took me about an hour to set up and get paid and start playing with the premium stuff, and it's actually pretty cool. So that's the one kind of what are we doing for the future and how are we getting through right now that I have, and I'll just kind of open it up for everyone else what the plans for the future are and how you're tackling those things.
Nate, how much is the paid Issue?
It's pretty affordable. So the thing that kind of the optimum spot for us is about $500 a year.
Okay.
Which is not expensive at all for, you sell a couple things as add-ons or whatever, and it kind of keeps it alive. And the analytics are great. It doesn't tell you exactly which link people are clicking on, but it does give you kind of an overall average. So we actually plan on going and getting our archives and uploading it. There are other tiers, but I think the 500, it's the second to highest spot.
Okay.
Meets our needs.
I actually have something new. Through talking with Terry and our student business managers, we had a lot of property management companies that we needed to convert, which are a pretty significant source of revenue for us, and a lot of them were operating. So through talking, we ended up, because they typically have higher spends, we wanted to make a new ad on pitnews.com, because we've been very vigorous in updating content on the pandemic and everything Pitt in Oakland still. So we went and made a larger real estate ad space. And actually, I think I can share my screen with everyone. That's cool. Hold on one second. Yeah, here we go. So can everybody see pitnews.com right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you scroll down to here, this is the new spot that we created.
Oh.
And
Cool.
I believe Terry originally had this idea, and it's we call it a digital billboard. I think it's like 800 by 330. And I wanted something because these property management companies typically spend at least $1,000 a month. Sometimes they get up into like 2,000 to 3,000, and that's a lot for us. So we wanted to convert that. So we made this space right here. We're charging $400 per week, and I got Walnut Capital, the advertiser right here, to reserve it for 3 weeks, $1,200, retained all that revenue, and it worked out. And then I honestly think this was a placeholder for sponsored content that we used in the past. But I think as far as like whenever we're looking at the future, this is something that I think we should definitely use. So we didn't have a big ad space before this. And it definitely, I mean, it's already proven successful. I think I sold it in like, after we had the filler ad up there, it was like 2 days and we had them take it. So that's a success story for us. And I think it's something that we can definitely use in the future.
What platform are you guys on?
We use, to serve our ads and schedule, we use Broad Street, but Terry, what's our website hosted on?
No, student newspapers online.
Yeah, Snow.
But it's our own WordPress site.
Mm-hmm.
I have one, and it's actually was an idea given to us. So, we used to print 4 days a week, and our last printed paper was March 18th. Our commencement has been postponed. It has not been canceled, but we have no idea when it's going to be. So all of that grad guide and GradGram revenue is just, we don't have that. But what we're talking about doing is creating some sort of a special edition at the end of the semester, just as a way to capture all of the stories, because we are producing a lot of news that have come out since the last print issue. So Nate, how you're still printing an edition every week, we're not doing that. We're just putting news up on the website. So, and everyone is on board and loves the idea. And I think there's a possibility with some of our more national clients to get some advertising in it. But the biggest challenge we have is distribution. If we wanted to actually print and distribute, and so it's like, do we print some at the end of the semester so we have them, and then wait and then reprint again when the fall semester starts? I don't know if any of you are talking about some sort of a special pandemic issue or something of that nature. You guys have to drink. I said it just so you could drink. And so any thoughts on that, or is anyone else thinking about doing the same thing?
Yeah,
We
so
actually, I'm sorry.
Michelle, we had already started collecting, selling really our my baby's graduating, so the equivalent of GradGrams, right? And James can probably tell you more about this. I think he's been on the phone with countless dozens of parents who had already purchased ads, and they don't want their money back. They just want something. I mean, this is the thing, is it's still acknowledging that the students who are graduating, and we would always tout with our corporate advertisers, right? JP Morgan Chase, buy an ad and congratulate your incoming analysts or things like that. But the tab that we would do with all the congrats from mom and dad ads, we're still moving forward with that. And basically what we've offered to do is, we're going to print far less than what we did, because at the end of the day, the parents just want the one that has their kid in it. They don't care that that there were 10,000 other copies printed. They just want the 2 or 3 that they were going to take home with them for themselves. And so we're going to print a far less quantity and actually just mail those out to the families, so they have something, because they are actually begging for something. They want some closure, because this is so incomplete for people.
Wait a minute. So you guys are still going to print grad goodbyes and mail them all home, or for whoever buys one?
Yes.
Even if you're only doing 150 issues?
Yep.
Yep.
How many people are doing this?
So, it's different this year just because of
right.
where we're at, but right now we're sitting at about 80 to 100 parents who've already purchased an ad. And the last communication that we do, which we're about to send out, usually brings in kind of usually half to 3/4 of the rest of the ad buy. So I really kind of just crafting the message that a lot of parents have wanted this. They're looking for something to still celebrate some part of graduation with their students. And this is a good opportunity to do that. And honestly, a lot of parents are fully on board. The conversations that I've had with so many parents are actually, again, very happy and blessed that we're even doing something like this, because it gives them, like Kathy said, that closure.
Can you guys post whatever information you're sending out on the listserv, just so we can see that? Because that's a thought that hadn't crossed my mind. Our grad goodbye issue, typically, we typically get 300 to 500 students in that issue, but never thought about mailing it home just specifically to those people.
Yeah, absolutely, Catherine.
Did you adjust your price at all, or no?
We haven't. And
right, because you didn't know that you weren't going to be doing. Got it. Okay.
Right. And so, I mean, James, I don't think James has gotten any requests at this point for refunds. And then we, you know, we're reducing from like 10,000 down to 1,000 because, you know, the most expensive amount to put on press is your first 1,000 copies, right, from your printer. But we still figure we're gonna end up netting something and having good feels by these parents who this may be their first graduate from U of M, and they've got other kids down the road that this is all about those good feelings.
Yeah. Interesting.
The university providing you with mailing addresses, or are you just reaching out through your normal website to sell them?
Well, we've been fortunate that our registrar's office has cooperated with us for so many years to get like mailing addresses for the incoming freshmen, to get the parents the email addresses of graduating seniors. Now they will send it out on our behalf, but you know, in one of our meetings, our CMBAM board meetings, you know, this is probably the opportunity for a lot of schools, right? Is to, if you have not had the best relationship with your registrar's office, this is really the time to reach out to them and see if they won't work with you on helping you generate a list, because people are asking for this stuff and you have no way of getting it to the parents or the students if they don't help you with this. So it's worth a shot.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'll post updates, kind of, you know.
Thank you.
Progresses into the listserv. I'll try to Google Doc.
Yeah, I mean, there are other, like John Schlitt was, you know, doing some other things at Cal Poly this year, and he, you know, he originally had thought about, you know, there's so many Facebook groups for parents, like parents of the class of 2020, and if there's any way that you can somehow even get like some sort of those people, they might help you pass along the word too.
Yeah, our Michigan Daily business manager, her mother is actually the like admin of the parents of University of Michigan students. So it was a nice connection, but I mean, you'd be surprised in where you can disseminate information, especially in this time.
Has anyone else thought about like an end of semester issue of doing something like that, of putting something in print and how you would distribute it? It doesn't have to be a grad guide, but just like an end of year.
So
We were
similar,
actually, oh, sorry, Nate.
as you say, similar to what's been talked about, our editorial staff thought, hey, it'd be really cool if we just started featuring some seniors and did feature stories on them, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not until this meeting that I decided I should try to make money off of that. So I'm gonna let the wheels turn for a while on that one.
We actually were thinking about doing something at Kent State because it was the 50th, it's the 50th anniversary of May 4th at Kent State. And we were supposed to have a massive commemoration and of everything that happened at Kent State with the shootings. And now that everything has been canceled, we were going to have a print issue that we basically put on issue, like Nate's doing at Utah. And that's how we were thinking about doing it, and just basically approaching it through that. Because we don't really want to print something if we don't know if we can pay for it. But we have all the students that are capabilities to publish it.
One thing that we're going to do, our graduation is August 7th and 8th right now. And so our editorial staff will be creating an end of the year commencement issue, publishing on issue, and then assuming that we do have graduation in August, we'll print then and distribute at graduation. So that's kind of our plan right now.
Yeah, because we're still printing a weekly newspaper, we're planning on printing a graduation edition. We typically do a year-end, like a year in review or semester in review as part of our graduation, along with the recognition of seniors and stuff. Our newsroom just this morning, when we were having a conversation, decided that they want to do some research and do some stories on how these seniors are celebrating their graduation, what things are they going to be doing in lieu of having a formal graduation, commencement, and convocation, since we've canceled both of those at BYU. So we're going to do something like that. I'm like Nate, didn't think about how to monetize this and additionally until listening to some of you guys. So thanks for some of the ideas. I think we can, I love the idea of mailing it home to families who might be interested in that. We do a mailer. Yes, it's a little expensive, but I'm with Kathy, building those relationships. We've also reached out and offered some PSA ads on our website for local companies that don't normally advertise with us, but are offering additional services or things for the community because of the virus that's going on, in the hopes of connecting with some of these companies and maybe having future advertisements and future clients. So that's kind of part of our public outreach program, if you will, to try to connect to that and to show that our local businesses, that we're here to support them in this time of crisis, with the hopes of that reciprocating later on.
Other responses that you guys are doing, things that are working, things that you're trying out?
Well, here at the Sundial, we had just started branching out into sponsored content on our website when all this hit, and we were just starting to get people a little bit interested in sponsored content. But when we closed down and we stopped printing, and we have a number of advertisers, we started contacting them and asking them what they wanted to do with their ads. And some of them, you know, we'll take website and social media, but we said, but also we've got this sponsored content thing we're trying out, and we'd like to give it to you for free until our campus reopens. So we'll do a story for you, we'll feature you guys, and it will go on our website, and we're not going to charge, it's just goodwill to let our readers know you're still out there while we're going through all this. And then when we do come back to campus, we don't have an official return time, but when we do get back to campus, then we will notify them, and then we will extend, would you like to renew this? Would you like to keep going with this? Here, well, let's talk about costs at that time. But it's just kind of a way to get them in. It keeps our students working in our marketing and sales department. It gives them something to do and to practice, but they also can work on and give people a little taste before they sign on to a more permanent solution.
Wow.
I have a question. Has anybody's campuses announced that they're not going to be doing summer orientation?
Fine.
All right, by raise of hands, no summer orientation. Physically, no physical summer orientation, raise of hands. Shoulder shrugs.
Currently,
sure
Penn doesn't do summer orientation.
Yeah,
So
I think right now South Carolina is looking at doing online for June and potentially in person for July, but it's still up in the air, obviously.
Yeah, our university did a lot virtually already, but I think that's still a giant question mark as far as July.
Ours is optimistic, but still they're planning it, but you know, just kind of playing it day by day. So thus far we are planning on having one, but I don't think it's gonna materialize.
They canceled all of Penn State's, and we actually are the publishers and designers of the entire program and booklet that they use for it.
Yeah, our university hasn't, at CSU hasn't announced it yet that they are not going to have summer orientation, but I did get an email today suggesting that that's the direction they're moving. And we do 3 publications in partnership with the university, print publications, that are distributed during summer orientation. So that was kind of a blow today to find out that there is a good possibility we won't be doing any of those unless, of course, we do them online or mail.
And that's where that comes into play, right? In trying to reach back out to those university units that you're coordinating with. And I mean, James and I will be talking more about reaching out to our Office of New Student Programs to see what else was, I mean, we did our own orientation guide independently and just had our own content and our own, and sold ads for it. And that's what we mailed out, but we got a lot of university units to buy advertising in it. but they were handing things out as students and parents came to campus. And so is there an additional opportunity at this point to reach out to those groups and then be able to maybe just build one really robust piece, tell them, like, you know, Nate's samples on issue, that there's an opportunity to, even though students aren't coming to campus, you know, when we would post even just our free copy to issue where there's all you can do is flip through it, right? When we would even post that and send an email out saying, you know, dear international students, we know you won't be on campus with us until August, but please take a look at this. We were getting like 11 minutes of engagement with the orientation guide on through issue. And that's, you know, a pretty decent amount for people with short attention spans. So I think having the more robust issue, being able to tell advertisers that, you know, we can link right to your site. So even though they're not on campus for those 3 days in the summer, they still have you still have the opportunity to build a 4 to 5 year relationship with them by getting them to go to your site from this ad in our guide. And that's, I think, what our selling, you know, piece is gonna have to be for that particular publication.
Yeah, we're working with basically the group that runs the orientation, and instead of it, they're holding a virtual orientation and they're building an app, and we're partnering with them to basically do this app with them as opposed to the printed publication that we typically provided for them.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left. So I want to thank everyone for joining us and hanging out with us. The last discussion I kind of wanted to have, again, I think the sharing of ideas of what people are doing, and even if it fails, like maybe share with everyone else, like, oh, we failed at this, so that we all don't try it and fail too. But I think one thing to just maybe chat about is the summer plans. As far as where things are at. So one of the things we as a CMBAM board wanted to bring up is the possibility of the mega workshop not happening. So the physical training of the mega workshop existing. We're not sure yet. We're obviously planning on it, but we also want to have feedback from you on what a virtual summer kind of training for ad reps, new ad reps, and new ad managers might look like. And so we've chatted about, you know, still bringing in professionals and bringing in presentations to train and offering that to organizations at a cost, not necessarily to sit there for 8 hours listening to Zoom, but some kind of educational experience. And so feedback that you guys have for that, and I think that can kind of be mixed in with the how are we recruiting and hiring and training our future staff with this unforeseen when we get to return to being in physical contact with each other. So if that's okay, if we just spend the next couple minutes chatting about that and getting your guys' feedback and tips there.
So the University of Alabama has said no travel and no conferences for who knows how long. So to me, I would think that's going to be an issue even if we are back on campus, because they haven't said we're not going back at a certain date. We just got like a work remotely indefinitely. It would be nearly impossible to send anybody to a conference over the summer, I am assuming. I don't know what it would look like to be able to pay to have students do training, but if it is a relatively minimal cost, I think that would be really beneficial, because now there's going to be a really weird startup, right? So my intern group, I had like the best intern group I've had since I started in student media 3 years ago. And all 7 of them are still really engaged with me. They've done a Zoom call twice. We are doing Zoom CNAs next week. So I'm pairing them up, and I asked them, how do they want to do this? They're really into the Zoom. They want more contact. You know, I think they're trying to have normal stuff. So that's what I'm doing right now as a training for the interns. So what I will do is they get a couple hours a week. They're unpaid. It's not a major internship, but I normally have them go out on sales calls with the other AEs, and that was all going to happen after spring break. So I rotated that to Zoom calls with me, and then next week we're going to do Zoom calls with each other where they all have a business they're researching, and they're going to do fake CNAs. So That's an idea if you're training people. We'll see how it goes. I would love to have them do something over the summer because I think they're going to come into a really hard situation in that they didn't walk in and meet any client with an AE. And I have 3 that are graduating. So the bulk of my reps are graduating. And they're going to walk into businesses that have had a terrible 6 months. It's going to be a really hard startup in the fall. For those businesses that are still in business, they're talking about football season not happening. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the University of Alabama's football team. That is a real big deal here. It is a much bigger deal than spring not functioning, right? And so my student reps will be coming in at a real disadvantage, and I'd love to give them the care and training and make them feel like everything's great, even if I think it's going to be a really rocky start for them. So that's my 2 cents. I'd love to be able to have them do some virtual stuff over the summer, if that's possible.
Well, and the concept that we've been talking about is still having like the ad rep boot camp sessions, still having these student ad manager sessions. So there'd be probably like 14 to 16 hour-long sessions that if we could somehow monetize, and we would record them just like we're recording these Zoom calls so that you would actually have a library of training materials to take with you throughout the entire year. So that it would benefit not just the 2 students that you normally send to the conference, but it's a resource that we could even renew every single year and have updated content moving forward. The idea though is that we wouldn't probably be able to put it into the general members paywall section. It would have to be kind of like a premium content add-on so that we could still kind of cover some of our costs and still build the revenue that CMBAM needs to operate. And to be quite honest, like, I don't foresee this happening at the University of Minnesota this summer. Like, they've already gone completely virtual with orientation. They've closed down a number of the residence halls, and they're even kind of, the football discussion has started happening. So that leads me to believe that there's not going to be any activity during the summer, let alone it's probably going to be some abridged activity in the fall. So I think this is a reality that we have to start planning for. And the idea is that we want to get as much feedback from our members so that we can tailor it to your needs relative to this situation that's happening right now.
You know what, I would think that the way things are going right now, I mean, our challenge right now is just getting students to work for the summer. But the question is, well, when do I start? And that's questionable at this point. We have no idea. The university shut down. They have just online classes for the summer, and we still don't know where we're going, and we won't until maybe after April 30th or later. So that's our challenge. Another one is that a lot of our sales staff were seniors. So we normally are like, aggressively recruiting right after spring break, which was 2 weeks ago, to get students to work for the summer and then for the fall and spring of next term. So our challenge is just, how do we even reach out to students? We're using all of our platforms, social media, and just everything that we can that's available to us at the university. But I would think that if you would do like a ad rep training workshop, it might be better if it was on video and we could purchase it. And then when we have our students come on board late in August, that we could use those videos for training, like initial, boot camp training at the beginning of the school year, so we can get them going. Or you could even, depending on how many videos there would be, we could stagger them into, as the beginning of the year progresses, a sales meeting, a part of the sales meeting would have like a video of a workshop.
Yeah, and the concept is we would do them live as we're creating them. So like if you had students in the office on the summer that you wanted to train, they would be able to interact at that time. And then all of it would be recorded so that you can use it how you're talking about, Terry. And then the other thing too, just kind of off the top of my head, thinking about what you were just saying, is we could pull together some follow-up meetings kind of in this fashion with your student leaders at the beginning of the school year to say, if you've watched the videos, what are the questions that you specifically have? And is there any additional insight from, like, as we could probably get some of our presenters to come back and participate in this type of format as well, so that they just don't have to watch the videos and kind of extrapolate things on their own. Like, we're open to as many suggestions or ideas as you all have, so that we, like I said, can prepare our staffs going into the fall semester, because you're absolutely right. It's an unknown at this point. Like, I don't know what our pool is going to look like during the summer. I think the silver lining that we're trying to lean into right now is the fact that, well, and it's silver lining on our side of the fence, it's horrible on our student side of the fence, but like, there are no study abroad programs anymore for the summer. There are no, like, 90% of my students have been told that their internship isn't happening this summer now either. So there's going to be a lot of bored, listless students that we can offer some opportunities to, if they're willing to do the remote work and put in some of the time to do some of that online learning, which sounds a little tedious and daunting, but I'm looking to tap into anybody that's willing to take that chance with us. And because, like, I feel like if we can engage with students on that end, when they do finally come in the office, they're going to even be better employees because of that.
Yeah, so that's kind of good. If you guys have suggestions or thoughts on what summer training might look like, or if you're interested in helping with that, I know some of you are teachers in this profession and you might already have curriculums that may work out. I think that's kind of where we're headed as a board, and I guess just sending those to Leslie in the programming email would be the best way to start that, so we can start planning what that might look like and that kind of stuff. So it's of the hour. I guess we all have to go back to work, if that's okay.
When can we meet again, Nate? When can we meet again?
I don't know. Leslie?
Do you guys want to do this again? Do we want to do it like
absolutely? Yeah, no, this is great.
week, maybe? Every other week sound good?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I'll send our wonderful picture out again when it's time.
Well, I have a question. Is this going to be only sent to CMBAM members, official members? Because okay.
Yeah.
Currently.
Maybe like our students need support, we need support as well. Charlie, you're right that we don't even know what's going to happen. We're all in the same boat as our administrators, and we're all just trying to figure it out as it comes up. So that kind of support and listening to what other people are doing has been really, really awesome.
Well, and I think getting back to what James was just, I think, alluding to is maybe in the off weeks we could, or once a month, we could kind of open this kind of format up to all media groups, so like CMA, CBI, different groups like that, to maybe even help enhance CMBAM membership. So like, you don't get into, yeah, and I think that's a great idea, because we have to show what our value is as a student media organization. And I think we're a very vital, or to use the pandemic jargon, essential student media organization during these times. So I think this is going to be one of the best ways that we can kind of prove our value to those other types of advisors and audiences that we haven't traditionally been able to really get traction in. So thank you, James.
That's a good idea. Great idea.
Well, stay safe. Reach out to any board member if you do need anything, even personally. and let's do our best to make the money keep raining.
Bye all.
Be safe, everyone.
Stay safe, be healthy. Bye.
Bye, Tammy.
I think that went pretty well.